Hi, everyone. Welcome to LatProXperience with Antonio Muñiz. Great to be here. Remember that the purpose of LatProXperience is to talk about entrepreneurial success through the Latino lens. Today, we have an amazing guest. I'm super excited that she's here with us. Her name is Carolina Villarreal. Carolina, great to see you. Thank you for joining us today in LatProXperience.
Thanks for having me, Antonio. I'm super excited about this conversation.
The reason that we're here today is because we met each other, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so. I don't know. It was 2023. And we connected in an event, and I'll share more about that down the line through our conversations, if it makes sense. But we connected. We have some conversations over that period of time. And wow, every time that I speak with you, I get a lot of value. I learn something new. And it was definitely a positive experience. I'm hoping that we can have a conversation in public so others can benefit. So before we do that, I know you a little bit, you know me a little bit, but perhaps not everyone who's connecting today in LatProXperience knows who Carolina Villarreal is. So tell us a little bit about you.
I'm originally from Argentina. My work brought me to the United States. It's almost 19 years ago with General Mills. I was transferred for an assignment for 2 years, and they were like, oh, stay more. And in the end, I became a very proud adopted American. My background is business development with brands. So it's branded management. That's the way I call it out. I led Latin America with portfolios of over 65 brands, and I also led North America. So that kind of like the Americas all over, it's kind of in my DNA, and I'm super excited to have this conversation here. Since 2019, I am a small business owner, so it's been 5 years, and I'm growing. So that's kind of in a nutshell who I am.
Awesome. And, we have very similar backgrounds. I mean, not in branding, not necessarily in the same industry, but 12 years in corporate America as an engineer and 20 years as an entrepreneur and business owner. One of my career steps, because I moved around the U.S. quite a bit when I was in corporate America, I lived in 14 different states and worked in 14 different states. One of them was, hey, you're going to go up to Ohio for 2 years, ended up being 12 years. So I know what it's like to have a project or a career extended longer than anybody could anticipate. So we have that in common. Now, in understanding, you and I are not from here, right? We're in the U.S. And we've been in the U.S. for a while, and we've had success in the U.S. and we're both from Latin America. You from Argentina, me from Puerto Rico. Those are stories that we continue to share, right? Because you can only become what you can see. So the purpose of LatProXperience is to share that journey, share those stories. So now we understand, born and raised in Argentina, work for multinational companies, come to the U.S. for amazing opportunities, stay in the U.S., and then you transition to ownership, right? Entrepreneurship and business ownership. Yeah. What triggered that transition, and what does that look like for you today?
Yeah, I worked nonstop ever since I was 18 years old. What triggered me starting working is because I wanted to travel the world. And my father, we were 3 sisters. My father was like, lovely, but I cannot pay, 3 different globetrotters. So if you want to do it, go and work. That's pretty much in a nutshell, which I loved, because he was like really like already installing in me, like, go get it, have the ambition. So I started working that and studying. I was granted, actually, the company that I used to work at that time, Citibank, gave me a grant. So they paid for my master's and my bachelor's, and that was great because it's part of like working and having that experience. And then turned into CPG, which is for the most part my experience with brand management, all over nonstop 28 years. Wow. Until a Friday at 4 p.m. Was working at Chiquita Bananas as the head of North America for brand consumer marketing. And the company said, hey, by the way, your job doesn't exist anymore. And so that was a pivot where I was like, oh, what do I do? And at the beginning was not like, oh, I'm going to go and be entrepreneur. The first was more like, let's stop. It's been almost 30 years that I've been doing a lot nonstop. Where do I want to go? What's the value that I can bring? What's the value that I want to get? And then in between that, having a conversation with my husband, who knows me very, very well. He was like, hey, you know how to do this. You know how to build brands from the scratch, from the ground up. And I had a multicultural experience leading teams across Latin America, in North America, and Europe. So it's like, you can do this. And so what I did was launch my own business. The name is VOZ, VOZ Growth. And it's all about two main pillars: business development, which is what I brought to life for the 30 years. And the second one is everything that has to do with how to position a brand, communication, digital, everything, marketing and branding. That's what got me here.
Awesome. So you take in your years of experience all over the world and the resources of and know-how of large corporations and bring it to the small business space. You know, I love it because that's what I do in my industry. It's about big business resources and content and knowledge and experience, and apply it in the small business environment at a price point that they can afford, in a way that they can execute on. So I love it. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we connected last year, because we saw the points of convergence between your experience and my experience, what I do and what you do. So here we are today, right? Here we are today. So who do you serve? What's your client, your ideal client, and who do you like to work with?
My slogan is, big company trained, small company builder. I leverage my experience and training over these 30 years I was mentioning to help small and medium businesses, SMBs, to expand and to grow. And what happens sometimes is that the entrepreneurs have started their business, they're already in the marketplace, and it's a point of inflection where they need to really expand and grow, but they cannot afford the talent of a C-suite to be able to do that. And so they're kind of all by themselves trying to get their strategy and the operations. And that's where I come in, helping those entrepreneurs get to the next level.
So entrepreneurs who have launched already, perhaps, and they've achieved some level of success, and they realize I can get this far by myself or with the team that I currently have, but I didn't come this far to come this far. Right. And I want to go to what's next, what's next for my business. And I don't know what's next. Well, I think I know what's next, but I don't know how to get there. So you come in and you bring that experience to help that client grow to the next level, perhaps. No?
Yes, that's exactly right. And then the second pillar as well is those visionaries that do have the idea, do have the concept, and they don't know how to operate it. Okay. And so that's another target that I have, especially having built these businesses and brands pretty much all over the world. So that's another part where I can help.
And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've had in a previous conversation that you and I had, you made the comparison or the analogy that is not very different for a small, there's very close similarities between a large company that is launching a new brand in a new market to a small company that's launching a new business in a already big market, right? So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I love that question. I was part of General Mills in international. General Mills didn't exist prior to 2000. It was only in the United States. And so having that big name, but still, no one knows Betty Crocker across the world. So I was part of the team that launched Betty Crocker in Brazil, and to, go to such a large country and have to build it up from the ground up. It's the same thinking that you have to have as you have any kind of new business launch. And the other thing is, big companies are big, definitely, but as well, you have to pitch for your idea. There is resources that are as well limited. It's not like, we have like a little tree and you just like stand the tree like has like apple instead of apples, dollars. And so those are things that are absolutely transferable to whoever is having that vision that is to make it happen. And I would say the first two foundational things, and those are kind of like the things that we can transfer from big to small, is the mindset. The first thing is literally, what's your plan? And plan means literally from the roadmap, strategic roadmap, and an idea of how I'm going to make it. And that includes as well resources. So number one, I would say that, and it's definitely something that I see as an opportunity for those that are starting in the market. Sometimes they say, like, I don't need a plan. I mean, I'll roll it over. Well, you do. You need to pivot constantly, but there has to be a vision. There has to be something that makes you different in the marketplace in order for people to want you.
Yeah. Well said. And there's that's the advantage of working with somebody like yourself that said, well, I've done this before and I've done this with success in this environment, and that transfers and translates to you, small, mid-sized business owner in the US, as an example. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And I think I know that successful entrepreneurs, one of the things that they know is they don't know everything. And the second thing is that they know is that speed matters. And I'd rather pay for speed and resources than trying to figure it out by myself. So I'm glad that you do what you do because it's needed. And hopefully the people who are connecting to LatProXperience today get to learn more about how you do what you do, and then can connect with you to seek help, because we achieve great things with and through others. No one has built anything of significance by himself or herself. So understanding your background, understanding where you come from, understanding what you do, your area of expertise, the client that you serve. Hey, listen, I have an idea. I don't know how to launch this thing. I don't know what I don't know. That could be one. Another one could be, listen, I started this business 7 years ago. We're doing $4.5 million, but this is a $40 million idea, and I don't know how to get it there. Yep. You can help, right? It could be on an ongoing basis, like you have, hey, I'm a fractional CFO or a fractional CMO, Chief Marketing Officer or Chief Financial Officer. You can be that. You could fill that role for a company, and perhaps you can also do that on a project basis. I want to go from point A to point B. Let me get there. Let me go on my own, get to point C, so I can engage with you to go to D. Is that fair?
Absolutely. So it's like, yeah, perfectly well articulated.
Well, it's obvious that you and I have had conversations before. We didn't just meet. So speaking about how we met, I mean, and this is, I think I want to share 30 seconds because I think it's important to realize that one of the things that I've learned along the way is the who is more important than the what and the how. Who do you know and who can help you, and who has the resources, who has the know-how is more important to your success than what you do and how you do it. And the reason that you and I are talking here today, full transparency, is that last year, over a year ago, a really good friend of mine invited me to an event. And the topic of the event, I don't recall because I don't think it's that important. But what I knew is that the event was targeted at small and mid-sized businesses in Central Florida. And it was sponsored by a large Fortune 500 company. And they said, hey, this is a place that we're going to learn XYZ on branding, on market strategies, etc. And more important for me than the content was who's going to be in the room. So I went to the event, and most people I did not know, and that's great. That's the kind of event that I like to go to. If I'm going to spend my time, invest my time, I want to be productive, meet new people. And who's doing the keynote presentation and doing all the coaching and all the content, delivering all the content? Carolina Villarreal. So I sat front row and I learned a bunch of stuff. I always have notes, and I have notes today from our conversation. And I said, wow, not only did I learn something, but I connect with you in a way. Well, I hadn't connected. I felt like we could connect. And I stayed back and I waited and we had a conversation. And because of that, we've had several conversations. And because of that, we're here today. And because of that, there are going to be some things in the future where we're going to be collaborating to help a lot more business owners.
Yes.
So my point with this boring story, it's not a boring story, it's a great story, is you have to be in the room where the resources are. You have to be in the room where the people are and make the right connection. No one's going to come to my house and do this.
Yeah.
I have to go where the people are. So I'm so grateful to have met you there and that we continue to have these conversations. And now we're doing it in public, which benefits a lot more people.
Yeah,
And so thank you.
Likewise here. I mean, one of the best things about having this connection with business owners is they keep on learning from each other. There are questions that maybe we haven't heard of, or, we're trying to figure out something. And then there are certain foundational skills and certain foundational situations where a business owner that has been prior to me, I've been 5 years, it's been way longer, has gone through. And so that kind of network, I think it goes vice versa. And that's the reason why as well, I'm so excited and grateful for you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you. I am as well. I am very grateful for you. So knowing what we know, knowing what you do, and people getting a glimpse into Carolina's big brain, what has you excited? What's next for you? What are you excited about? What are you working on now that gets you all excited every day?
Well, when we opened the conversation and mentioned, this was offline, that I had been working late night yesterday. And what gets me excited today is I'm working as a fractional sales and marketing for a company that I want to get them to global domination. And I think we do have the foundation to do that. It's a serial entrepreneur, the leader of the organization. And I think that teaming up, it's like exactly what we need to do to take it there. And we are in the midst of reorganizing the strategic side of things and showing to a potential stakeholder, capital funding, actually, specifically, what has been done, what I led for the last 6 months in order to get that foundation and be ready to turn on a button, meaning like having capital to take it to the next level. It's super excited, and it's going to happen in the next half an hour. That is my highlight of the day. And it's all about really making, bringing value to a business, to the entrepreneur through the business results. That is something that gets me going, where I can see as an operator how to really get those results, not only like thinking how to, but as well taking them to that there and being that combination of the visionary and me being the operating to make it happen. That makes me super happy and motivates me to keep going.
Yeah, I love it. And kind of a side note, if you want to get excited like Carolina is, and if you want to grow your business to the level of its potential, you got to be thinking like what Carolina just said. We're looking for global domination. We're not here to participate. We're here to take all of it. Okay. If somebody offers me a $10 bill or a $20 bill, which one I'm going to take? I'm going to take both. I'm walking out of here with $30. So this is the kind of thinking that's going to get you excited. Most people quit on their goals because they're not big enough, not because they were too big. They quit on their goals because they're not big enough and they can't get excited about it every morning. It's not going to significantly change the quality of your life, and more importantly, the quality of the people around you. So that's why people quit. It's not, well, it was too big, so I crapped out. That's not really the case. Research shows, not Antonio says, research shows that most people quit on small goals. That's right. It's crazy because it's like, well, if I don't hit it, I don't hit it. Somebody who made $100,000 last year and their target is $110,000 this year, they can't get excited about it. So they say, well, I'm not 98, no big deal. Last year I did 100, 2 off is not a big deal. That's quitting. That's quitting. Anyway, that's kind of a different conversation for a different time. So understanding this, understanding where you're going, understanding that you're super excited about working with this client and seeking global domination. How do you keep fresh? How do you feed yourself? Do you have mentors? Do you read? I mean, leaders are readers, and a lot of people don't like to read. So I want to get your position on that before we close this out.
I do purposefully have connections that I've done in either, well, first of them are not necessarily doing exactly the same thing that I do in terms of talent. I think that kind of diversity of thinking and background elevates both of the, both directions, right? I mean, that's one thing that I do. The second one is I have to confess that I'm not reading that much. I do have the 2 books and I have a list of books on my wish list, but I've been more into podcasts and newsletters, and then going into research itself for topics. Probably because I'm working too much, and when I have a time, I'm like, no, I would rather do something else than just have a book. But you should audience read. It's very good. So one is like talking to others that have been doing this longer than me, or that come from different backgrounds. The second one is making sure that I am ahead of the questions that the market has, and then finding where to learn about them. And the third one is honestly just as well, making sure that I have a breather, because when I am getting into a lot of workshops and getting into a lot of projects all together, because I'm a speaker too, I tend to work over the weekends, and when there is no time to rest, that is not healthy as well. So I'm purposefully as well taking a balance of those things to be able to hustle and keep it up. So those are the 3 things.
100%. You got to pour your own, fill your own cup, right? And sometimes that's resting. Sometimes that's reading something that is pure guilty pleasure, or just watching 45 minutes of some garbage on Netflix. Whatever cleanses your palate, right? So listen, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you making time for this. I know you got a lot on your plate, and I'm grateful for your friendship, and I'm grateful for the time that you made for us today in LatProXperience. And remember, everyone, if you found value in this content, make sure that you like, share, subscribe. We're all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, etc. And it's important that we not only this is an easy way to consume content, right? Podcasts and live streams, because we only know what we know, but we don't know what we don't know. And perhaps this is the one thing that could take you to the next level. So thank you again, Carolina, for being so transparent and giving to me and to our audience. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you for plugging into LatProXperience when we talk about entrepreneurial success through the Latino lens. So until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.